During the just-ended 68th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama took time off to attend a special event organized in his honor by the Africa House of the New York University, NYU. The event was hosted by Professor Yao Nyakon, an economics professor at the New York University. In his welcome speech, Professor Nyakon read from a poem by Kofi Awono, the Ghanaian-born poet who passed away in the Kenyan Westgate incident.
So before I introduce the person who is going to introduce our guest speaker, I'd like to give you all a poem. This is from Kofi Awono. The Ghanaians know that he just passed away in the Kenyan mall incident. My people, I have been somewhere. If I turn here, the rain beats on me. If I turn there, the sun burns me. The firewood of this world is for only those who can take heart.
The president of NYU, John Sexton, paid glowing tribute to the president and also spoke of the relationship between his institution and Ghana.
To create a meaningful, integrated, high-quality capacity in our students to move around the world, to challenge themselves, even as we gave them a safety net, and we care deeply about their wellness when they're here and whenever they are within our care. So we began to make it very easy for them to go study away. And the initial study away sites were in Europe, but I remember having a conversation with Yao saying, we're too Eurocentric. And the first study away site that we established a decade ago, this is the 10th anniversary of the Accra study away site.
President John Mahama spoke on some of his policies and read from his book, My First Coup d'etat.
As you know, we've been pursuing the Millennium Development Goals. Ghana is on target to meet the goals on universal enrollment in school, that's primary school enrollment, and more than 90% of children of school-going age are going to school. Our challenge now is to keep them there and prevent them from dropping out, especially the girl children. Because people will push you only as far and as hard as you allow them to. Feigning kindness and friendship was his due diligence. The boy's name was Ezra, and despite his best efforts to fit in, it was apparent from the start that it would be a most difficult task. There were 10 of us in our dormitory, and Ezra was the tallest. He was a couple of years older than us.
He also answered questions from the audience.
My name is Melissa Lefkowitz. I'm a program officer at the U.S. Asia Law Institute by way of NYU and Harvard, where I did a master's degree in East Asian Studies and looked at the historic representation of Africans in China. And I know the legacy of friendship still exists, even though the Mao era, Third World Revolution doesn't anymore. And I'm just wondering, just simply open-ended, when I say the word China, what do you think?
Hi, Your Excellency. My name is Kwesi Bako from Sahara Reporters. My question is, we just heard a short while ago about an imminent threat, a terrorist threat on Ghana as a result of Ghana's involvement in the crisis in Mali. Are you concerned about this? And if so, what is your response to the threat? Thank you.
What comes to my mind when I hear China? China has been a friendly nation with Ghana. We celebrated recently more than half a century of diplomatic relations between our two countries. And if you remember, our first president, was quite close with China. Indeed, he was brokering peace in Hanoi and gone through China when he was overthrown. We have continued to maintain that warm relationship, but I think that it must be a relationship based on mutual respect and partnership. And so, yes, we have good bilateral relations. Yes, we have good exchanges with China. And we are in several economic cooperation agreements with them in respect of financing investments in Ghana. But We do have our differences too. Recently, I had to deport over 4,000 Chinese from Ghana because they were involved in illegal mining and they were destroying the environment. And so the principles and the rules are there. And I guess that the fact that we're friends does not mean that if we breach each other's rules, we must not act in a tough manner. But it hasn't, destroyed our relationship. I believe that they understand that I had to do the job I did as president. And so our relationship is still good. Aren't we afraid of asymmetric attacks? Yes, we're cautious of that. You know what happened in Mali? There was a crisis in Mali, and Mali was almost overrun by various rebel groups. And so we had to come together under the African Union and the ECOWAS and send an intervention force into Mali. Of course, I always pay gratitude to France for their support they gave, because it was the French who went in first and stabilized the situation, and then the African force, followed. And so we, together with the French forces, pushed the rebels back, out of Mali. I came almost directly from Mali to New York because I'm going to attend the investiture of the new president of Mali, Ibrahim Keita. And I think that the situation in Mali has quite stabilized, but we must not be complacent. It's become a UN operation now, and Ghanaian troops are present, Nigerian troops are present, troops from various African countries are present, but there's always the threat of asymmetric attacks on our homelands, and we must be cautious of that. Part of the reason given for the Kenyan attack is that Al-Shabaab says that Kenya is participating in the military operation in Somalia, and so they felt that they were right targets, for retribution. And so it's possible. What is happening is, as countries like the United States, Homeland Security tighten, the security of your nations, terrorists are looking for softer targets. And what softer targets can you find than African countries who for years have shifted more of our spending into social services, providing better social services for our people, and have neglected defense spending. We actually had suppressed defense spending and pushed everything into education and health and all that, because we didn't feel there was really any threat of aggression. But with what is happening in the world, it means that if you must protect your democracy, you must be vigilant too. And so we're going to have to factor that into consideration and make sure that we are on our guard.
After the event, Sahara TV caught up with Minister of Information, Mahama.
The oil boom in Ghana, what is really happening with that? Are we getting any real dividends from the oil?
Oh yeah, sure. We are a new oil economy, and we have put in place mechanisms for making sure that the resource is accounted for. The investments are being made. Clearly, those who have made investments have put their investments. As a country, we benefit. The issue is how do you use what we've done is to structure the reporting system in such a way that not all the money is used. We have some that is set aside for future generations, what we can use now. And our priority is to put those monies that we can use now in infrastructure development, which will have multiplier effect on other aspects of our economy, such as roads, dams, agriculture, etc. And so that's how we're strategizing around the use of the oil money. But then we're still doing a lot more exploration. We're making more finds, and we're carrying out more studies to find out if there are economic quantities for us to actually do full-scale production of the new finds. We want to focus on making sure that the oil money becomes a blessing and not a curse. Talking about accountability mechanisms.
Talking of blessings and curses, can I ask you one more question quickly? The Chinese are our trade partners. but recently we've been reading about them, invading the land and actually causing a lot of destruction to the land. What's your government's position on that?
Well, I mean, as you can see, we're also taking steps to make sure that when they are in our country, they act in accordance with our laws. As the President indicated, many have been deported because of that. But we hope that we're able to maintain our good relationship with China, because there are also a lot of Chinese that are in Ghana and working in legitimate sectors of the economy. And there are many who are into energy generation, there are many who are into even agriculture, and nobody stops any of them from being in Ghana and investing. But when you conduct yourselves in ways that endanger our environment and the future of our country, we definitely have to take a stand on these issues. And we believe that our colleagues in China appreciate the importance of making sure that when we're in each other's country, we do the right things.
Thank you very much.